things that needed to be changed, like the reform, was the fuel subsidy, the petrol subsidy. We got to a point where the subsidies we're paying were way beyond what our capital fund was in this country. And that was going to the hands of just a few. And again, they were not measured in the way and manner that you could actually assess how much. But it makes no sense that we have refineries in the country, we have crude, we take it out to be refined and import it back to our country. So what did that do to us? It was affecting our foreign exchange flow. It was affecting a whole lot of other domestic transactions that are tied to foreign exchange because people can no longer access them easily. Now, that needed to go. And if that went, what were you doing? Deregulate the market. So anybody can go, you can buy your fuel, you can refine your fuel, and then you can sell. So competition helps to bring prices lower. If you produce an iron of crude, and I am an importer, if at the end of the day there's a standard which we know that what we both I import and you produce locally, the standards are the same, I'll have to check my cost as an importer if it's cheaper, and you as a producer if it's cheaper for you to produce here. And at the end of the day, let us compete. If my price is better than yours, I'll continue to put it out there. But in trying to ensure I'll do you as my competitor in the market, I will try to bring my price down and make my margins smaller. And you, as a producer, will also have to do that as well. In doing that, at the end of the day, you know who benefits? The consumer. Because we are both competing. And we are bringing the price down because I need to sell. Then, who benefits? The consumers at the end of the day. Who are the consumers in this case? Nigerians. So the fuel subsidy needed to go. Because in subsidizing it, you don't know the pains, the competition is not there, and you're not throwing it to the open market for them to get that factor. So that's one of the key indicators. The second is floating of the naira. Yes, it's a very dangerous political decision to take to float your currency. However, we needed to do it, otherwise we're spending money, the country is spending money to defend the naira. You're putting money out there so that the price of them can stabilize the price of the dollar. Why do that when you can let it free? It starts falling, gets to a point where the stabilization will come. And that's where we are headed. In the past couple of months, we've seen the dollar go down to a stable position. It's now under 1,500 naira. And what would that do? It gives business people the opportunity to plan your businesses. I can project, because when the dollar was going, the naira was up and down, you could not plan anything. And once you can't plan, and the private sector is not functional, you can forget the fact that your economy is growing, because the macroeconomic effects are devastating to any economy. Therefore, you need to put things in place. Now, if the monetary policy comes this way, there must be a handshake from the fiscal side, and that will give you a stable currency. And so far, so good. It's not been easy, but that's where we are headed, and that's what's been happening, and we can see the fruits coming thereof. What has taking up the fuel subsidy done? It has released more monies to the states for infrastructural development. So the states gets more money now than they used to have before now, because all that monies were taken to pay subsidies, but those subsidies are not there anymore. So they are free to the states for them to use. So in my opinion, I will say, I've given you what the key indicators are. These are the first two reforms which are key. However, the other reforms which are also in place that are coming, infrastructurally, taking on major projects like the Coastal Road project. If you go down the line to take the whole process down to Ghana, before that process will come into place, a whole lot of time would have been on it, and you probably won't even have the time. But you need the courage to take some of these decisions. It's okay, I'm doing this now. because I know the benefits of the future, and then we can put it, regulate, ensure we regularize thereafter. These are issues that can be done, and these are reforms taken. They are bold, they may be stringent, as it appears, but they will yield good results. So these are indicators that I can tell you about that are in place. Look at the oil sector, which was the nerve of this country. In reforming the oil sector, bringing in industry hands that are trained in the industry, from the chairman of the NNPC, PC Limited, down to the very last board members, are all sector players. What does that give you? You now have people who have what it takes, who understands the industry, to run the industry. And it can only give you good results. It can't give you bad results. Some of these reforms I'm talking about, these key indicators, are happening in so many other sectors. And that's just to put succinctly, I've given you just what a few, but key amongst them are, which everybody knows, is the fuel subsidy, and of course the 15. It's not as easy as people look at it. The reactions of Nigerians, like I tell you, we've been suffering, this has been happening, that has been happening. But some sectors are beginning to see the gains thereof. And in seeing those gains, they are beginning to also appreciate and understand that, yes, it will take us time, but it will take us to the right destination. Because some people are benefiting from the fallout of the reforms, like the NEL fund. Students can now get loans to go to school and all of that, even though it's a promise of the president. But these are fallouts coming from the reforms, and they have freed funds that will go into areas of this nature to allow for some of these critical things to be done. However, my opinion is that a lot of Nigerians will begin to understand and appreciate Mr. President's reforms and the things he's doing. So it will help them, because the more they understand it, the easier it is for them to know and appreciate his direction. And I can assure you, the moment they know his direction and appreciate the outcome of those directions, they will give him their votes massively, even if we don't have.
It's a process. The same thing is where we are passing through. But we've come to a point where people have become impatient out of frustration or whatever, and it looks like we are not, if you get in here today, by tomorrow you've changed the whole thing. It's not going to happen. Even in the United States, when the cost of living was crazy, people were angry. They said, oh, Trump will come and do it. Has he been able to do it? No. The cost of living is still up there. But he's still, because there's a process to ensure that all of these promises and reforms will begin to yield fruit. So we'll get to that point where before they start to yield the fruits, the pains will be there. But then, that is the hope renewed. The hope renewed is the fact that the reforms will come, the pain will come. But the moment you have hope, then you know that there is a point where we'll begin to benefit. Hope is that, what I don't want to use the word faith, like the Bible says, but when you hope for something, my people will have an adage, say, hunger when get hope, you know the key person. So this hope we have is renewed. If you know that, hunger when get hope, know the key person, we are renewing to say, listen, you will not die, but we will definitely get to destination and we'll all benefit from the destination.